What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you an update again post Alliance Insight. This time it is the turn of Shining Sarcophagus. Now Shining Sarcophagus got an amazingly good brand new card in the form of Dark Magician Girl, the Magician's Apprentice. It just adds so much more consistency to this deck, it's absolutely crazy. So, I'm going to take you through the main deck, the extra deck, and even a demo side deck, so you have an idea of exactly what you're going to need to put together for this particular build. The best thing about this deck is it does have a couple of different variations and changes you can make, and I'll explain those as we go through them. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you won't miss out on any more upcoming content. Diving headfirst into the profile with a brand new card. Currently, I am playing 3 of this, is the Dark Magician Girl, the Magician's Apprentice. So you get to special summon this card from the hand by discarding any card, and if you do, its name becomes Dark Magician Girl. You can only special summon it once per turn this way. If this card is normal or special, you get to add a Shining Sarcophagus from the deck to the hand. You can only use the effect once per turn, and it gains 300 attack for every monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus in the graveyard. This card is just so incredibly good for the deck because it gets you direct access to your corner piece, being the Shining Sarcophagus, and it means you now no longer need to rely on Gadget Trio getting you direct access to that Shining Sarcophagus. So you can either bait out an effect on the Dark Magician Girl, or you bait out an effect with the Gadget Trio and move on from there to be able to still get you your Shining Sarcophagus and then still lead you into the other plays you're trying to make. Speaking of which, our ideal normal summon of the deck will be your Gadget Trio. On normal or special, you add a Shining Sarcophagus or a spell and trap that mentions it from the deck to the hand. If it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you get to set a stronghold for the Forbidden Fortress from the deck, but we are currently not playing that in this version. Then your boss monster is, of course, Gandora G, the Dragon of Destruction. So it gains 300 attack for each banished card, and this card can only be and you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If you control Shining Sarcophagus, you get to special summon this card from the hand. You get to pay half your life points to destroy as many cards on the field as possible, and if you do, banish them, and then special summon a level 7 or lower monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus from the deck, and increase its level by the number of cards destroyed by this effect. So that's where the banish effect is going to come up. It does mean if you wanted to play a card like Part of Extravagance, another brand new card that you could also play is the Gordian Slicer, because that allows you to banish from your extra deck that you don't really care about, or your hand, and that's just going to increase the attack stats of your Gandora G. Then we are playing a couple of one-offs, one being the Dark Magician, the Magician of Black Magic. So it becomes Dark Magician 1 on the field, and you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If Shining Sarcophagus is on the field, you get to special summon this card from the hand. If this card is destroyed by card effect and a level 5 or higher monster is on the field, so obviously your Gandora G, you can special summon this card and then set a spell trap from the deck that mentions Dark Magician. And the one that more times than not you're going to be setting will be your Secrets of Dark Magic, as that will unlock the capabilities to make Red Eyes Dark Dragoon during your opponent's turn, as of course your Gandora G is a dragon, and this is Dark Magician on the field. For the other one-offs, we are playing the one Silent Magician 0. So if your opponent draws a card or cards, increase this card's level by the number drawn. And while this card's level is higher than its original level, it gains attack equal to the difference times 500. When your opponent activates a spell card or effect while you control Shining Sarcophagus, quick effect, negate the activation, and if you do, increase this card's level by 1. The counterpart to that one is one of the Silent Swordsman 0. You can choose not to play these if you don't want to. I'm personally playing the Ties That Bind. I just like it as a kind of a cool option. But this one is during the standby phase, it increases card's level by 1. While this card's level is higher than its original, it gains attack equal to the difference times 500. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a Shining Sarcophagus or a monster that mentions it, you control, you get a quick effect to negate the activation if you do increase this card's level by 1. The final Shining Sarcophagus monster we are playing is the Archfiend's Advent. So while you control Shining Sarcophagus, you can normal summon this card without tribute. Other monsters that you control gain 500 attack, and then during your turn only. If this card is normal or special, you get to target a monster your opponent controls and take control of it until the end phase, but that monster cannot attack unless you control Shining Sarcophagus when you activate this effect. So that's very important. You can kind of see why everything needs Shining Sarcophagus in rotation, and why it's so important that the Dark Magician Girl provides you that. Speaking of which, of course, we are playing 3 Shining Sarcophagus. It can't be destroyed by monster effect, and you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. During the main phase, you get to add a card that mentions Shining Sarcophagus from the deck to the hand, except itself. And if your opponent special summons a monster or monsters from the graveyard, etc. in damage state, you get to discard a spell card specifically to target one of those monsters and send it back to the graveyard. And then playing 3 Future Silence. I really do like this card because it's a quick effect. You do it during the draw phase, and now that you want to get access to your Dark Magician Girl even more, you get to add a monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus from the deck to the hand. And if you activate this card during the battle phase while you control Shining Sarcophagus and a monster that mentions it, each player draws until they have 6 cards in their hand. Obviously, sometimes you might not want to give your opponent that draw advantage, but that's why this is so good to activate during the draw phase, get you into your Dark Magician Girl, then start your turn off by using the Dark Magician Girl, trying to work your way into the Shining Sarcophagus, and then build on from there. For the other Shining Sarcophagus spell cards, I like to play 1 turn silent. So you target one face-on monster your opponent controls, increase its level by 3. Also, if you activate this card in response to your opponent's monster's effect while you control, target face-up monster you control, not your opponent controls. If you activate this in response to your opponent's monster activation effect while you control Shining Sarc and a monster that mentions it, negate that opponent's effect. During damage calculation, if the monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus battles, you get to banish this card from the graveyard to end the battle phase. So very defensive. I do like how this card works, which is why I'm always tempted to play more than 1, because it's so easily accessible. 1 is more than enough. Also playing 1 Ties That Bind. So if you control Shining Sarcophagus and a monster that mentions it, special on up to 2 level 4 or lower monsters with different names from the deck that mention Shining Sarcophagus from the hand or deck. Also, for the rest of the turn, after this resolves, you can't special summon from the extra deck. You can only activate 1 Ties That Bind. You don't have to play this. It's completely optional. I just like it as a nice option. Then we are playing the 1 Caught by the Grave, and then we've opened it up to either hand traps or field breakers, depending on what you would prefer. Now, with this particular type of deck, you do open up quite a lot of abilities to pretty much push for an OTK very easily. So I decided to go for cards that are going to be the most impactful, which is why we've gone with triple Ash Blossom, alongside triple Fluoros. If you don't have access to Fluoros, you can go for Drown Lockbird. Basically, what you're aiming for is a Floodgate-esque style hand trap to kind of make your opponent pass their turn or give you as much advantage as possible. Then triple Infinite Impermanence, followed up by some very cool supporting engines, whether they're going to be breaking fields or whether they're going to be solidifying your control. So for the break in the field option, we've got triple Ultimate Slayer because you just don't care about your extra deck. This is one of the decks that I would highly consider playing the Gordian Slicer in, just because your extra deck is so free, unless you want to be going down something like a Super Poly route as well. Then for the control counterpart to the Ultimate Slayer, I am playing triple Nadir Servant, which works its way into Maximus and of course Schism, because when you're trying to end your field, you can also end with a window lock, and the best thing about that is you have the ability to clear off the window whenever you want to, or if you don't even want to and you want to just keep controlling your opponent, being able to utilize the Gandora G can help you push for the OTK alongside something like a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. The final card, of course, is a consistency piece in the form of the Pot of Prosperity. The optional engine here, in my opinion, would be the Nadir Servant, and then that's, of course, where you could add in more chummies if you wanted to, different hand traps. I just feel that this solidifies your going first options, and then going second, you've got that Slayer as an option. And if you're going first or second, you have these as discard options, and your Nadir Servant can also help you go in second by being able to send like an Elder Entity Int or a Garura to draw and disrupt your opponent, and then you rely on your Garura or you rely on your Gandora to push for the OTK. So that's it for the entire main deck. Now to move on to the extra deck. Another card you can consider is the Pot of Extravagance, and the reason for that one is, like I've mentioned, your extra deck is not that specific. The reason I've avoided it is because I still want to utilize Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, I still want to utilize the effects of the Shadow cards when we're utilizing them off of the back of the Nadir Servant and the Ultimate Slayer, so on and so forth. So the cards you'll actually summon from the extra deck will be Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, followed up by Dart the Dark Charmer, SP Little Knight that can work its way into your Selene, and then into an access code. The benefit of something like Selene is you can bring back your Dark Magician Girl and then utilize his effect and move on from there. You can also summon out the Chaos Angel, and the way you can summon out your Chaos Angel now that we have access to the Dark Magician Girl is that's going to allow you to utilize your Dark Magician Girl as your level 6, wherever she may be. There we go. And then for your level 4 lights, you've got your Silent Swordsman, and you also have your Silent Magician, wherever she may be. There we go. So that kind of gives you a couple of different options. Another level 6 you can also use with all of this is your Archfiend's Advent. So it gives you those options to steal your opponent's monster, and if you steal a level 4 light, you just work your way into a Chaos Angel. But the extra deck is very flexible, so you can adapt it as you see fit. I've also got a Nightmare Phoenix in here just to deal with any pesky floodgates, but you can change this out for whatever you see fit. And of course, a Super Star Slayer Typhon. Then the cards that you're going to be sending off of Ultimate Slayer or Nadir Servant is, of course, your Tri-Brigade Arms. The reason for this is that in the Ultimate Slayer scenario, you target one of your opponent's monsters that is a Link monster, send this, and then this will then allow you to send the Garura to give you a draw. You also have Garura as another option to be sent for a fusion, alongside your Elder Entity Ints, and of course your Adjugator for XYZs and your Malong for Synchros. Then for the Yugioh package, very simply, you will have your app clone that you send this to search out your schism and discard a card, and then you have the ability of banishing a dart to work you into a window, which is all very easily accessible off of the back of the Nadir Servant or even Maximus, depending on what you're trying to push for, and to make sure you've got those darks in the grave and the Yugioh to make your window lock. So that's it for the entire main deck and the extra deck. Now to show you a demo side deck. Now demo side decks for most of my profiles lately are relatively the same. You just adapt it to the environment. For this one, I'm testing out triple Fantastical Dragon Phantasme to protect some of your cards from being targeted, while also refreshing the hand against Malice to help you work into one of the strongest Malice hate cards around, being the Artifact Lancier. Speaking of Malice Hate, how can you get to more Malice Hate if you're going first? Well, you've got your Triple Tactics Thrust, which not only can lead you into something like a Ties That Bind, or can lead you into an Imperm, but you can also lead yourself into an Artifact Sanctum, a different Dimension Ground, or you can work your way into something along the lines of a Dimension Barrier. This is one of the few decks that doesn't really mind about the graveyard and can actually utilize it without it, so DDG can be very effective for you. Then you do have your 2 Lightning Storms, followed up by the 1 Duster and the 1 Triple Tactic Talent. Again, entirely up to you on what you'd like to choose, what you'd like to adapt. I just thought it was kind of an option to utilize the Phantasme as a different choice rather than the Chummies, but you also have the Chummies themselves. You just need to keep in mind that you want to go Chummy into Phantasme rather than Phantasme into Chummy, because the Chummy won't then be able to be utilized. So that's it for the entire main deck and the extra deck alongside a side deck. Very straightforward and simple, and I know, before I get them in the comments, I know I am missing some quarter century secret rares for this deck. I'm waiting to pick up the Dark Magician Girl because right now it's just way too expensive for a quarter century secret rare, like £100 for this deck. I'm going to wait until it drops a little bit, or hopefully drops. I have literally just ordered 2 of my Future Silence. This was the one that kept escaping me. I've been able to pick up 2 at a reasonably good price. I just need to pick up my 3rd one, and then they will be complete as well. And then of course you will be able to bask in the amazing extra shiny glory of Shining Sarcophagus. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Any questions, by all means put them in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them as always. But for now, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.